Hello everybody, Dylan here from DHT. Now, today we are going to be talking about my top 10 favorite Wisp. Why am I bringing up the Wisp? It's because they will be featured in the new game Sonic Forces. They will be powering the weapons the creator character uses. So I thought I'd explain to you the 10 Wisp that I like, and hopefully show off some of the Wisp that will appear in Sonic Forces. So let's get right into this today on DHT. Number 10, Green Hover. Now, this was first featured in Sonic Colors, and it allowed Sonic to turn into a little hovercraft and fly around in the sky until the time ran out. If Sonic saw rings, he could also ring dash in the sky. This was a pretty fun little Wisp, and I liked the feeling of flying around. You just gently flew higher every time you tapped, and I thought that this Wisp was pretty fun, but it does need some balancing. It is pretty slow, and it does seem like it's scripted. So that's why it got to be here at number 10. Now this one was also featured in Sonic Colors, and it allowed Sonic to turn into a blue cube with Sonic eyes, and he would smash down, destroying all the enemies around him. And it would turn solid blue cubes into transparent blue cubes, and it would turn transparent blue cubes into solid ones. This was a pretty cool gimmick for platforming, and it really changed up how Sonic played in Sonic Colors. And I really liked this Wisp because you could just smash down, destroying a bunch of enemies around you. It really made you feel powerful, and it was a neat little gimmick to change up the platforming of Sonic Colors. But there's a lot of great Wisps beyond this one, so I had to put it at number 9. Let's move on to number 8. Now, you know how I just explained why I like the blue cube, the fact that you could smash and destroy everything around you? Well, that moves on to our number 8 selection, the Gray Quake. The Gray Quake turns Sonic into an iron ball that generates shockwaves and destroys all enemies and obstacles around it. This really makes you feel powerful because you just see everything falling apart around you. And it's just basically the blue cube, but even more destructive and even more powerful. This Wisp was featured in Sonic Lost World 3DS, how very unfortunate for it, and the reason why I featured it on here is it's just a better cube, and people might not know it because not everybody played Sonic Lost Worlds for the 3DS. So let's move on to number 7. Number 7, the Orange Rocket Wisp. Now this Wisp turns Sonic into a literal rocket, and he flies up into the sky and then explodes. When he explodes, he pops into his normal form and then comes gliding down, and you can guide him and grab rings that way. Now, the one downside of this transformation is you can only shoot straight up. If you could actually change the direction the rocket ship was flying, then this would definitely be higher in the list. But other than that, I love everything about this transformation. I love the power you feel when you fly up in the sky. I love the announcer saying the Rocket Wisp name. It's just all wonderful. But unfortunately, because you can only go straight, it gets a number 7 spot. So let's move on to number 6. You know how I said the downside to the Rocket Wisp is you can only fly straight up? Well, the Crimson Eagle is here to help you. The Crimson Eagle turns Sonic into a literal eagle, and he can fly around for a limited amount of time. He can fly up, he can fly down, and he can boost. This is an amazing transformation, and you actually feel like you're flying. I never knew that I wanted to fly as Sonic in a Sonic game, but this Lost World Wisp definitely shows you how fun it can be. Most people don't like the Wisp, but I think Crimson is definitely a good example to how Wisp can improve the gameplay of Sonic games. So let's move on to number 5. Now, if you liked the last one seemed fun to you, you're definitely going to love the Red Wisp or the Red Burst Wisp. This turns you into a living fireball, and it allows you to perform mid-air jumps, which is similar to flying, and you have charged explosions. Now this is like mixing the Crimson Wisp with the Iron Ball Wisp. You get to destroy everything around you, and you get to fly through the air. Not actually flying, but double jumps are fun too. So yeah, this definitely earns a spot as number 5. Number 4 is the Black Wisp or the Black Bomb Wisp. This Wisp turns Sonic into a giant bomb, and he can roll over enemies and cause explosions, wiping out enemies and obstacles around him. This is basically an upgrade to the Gray Wisp or the Quake Wisp, but without the earthquakes. If you love just causing destruction and mayhem, this is definitely your Wisp. And just how Sonic looks like when he transforms into this, it definitely looks evil evil. It looks like it's gonna cause so much destruction. If you just like destroying stuff in games and causing a lot of destruction, this is definitely the Wisp for you, and I had a lot of fun playing as it. This Wisp can be found in Sonic Lost World, and it's definitely worth it. This is the special edition of Lost World, just so you know. Now, you may have noticed a trend up until now that the Wisp that cause destruction and mayhem tend to be my favorite ones, and that's because it's really different than normal Sonic gameplay, and I just love smashing stuff. This trend continues with Violet Wisp, our number 3, or Violet Void. This turns Sonic into a black hole that sucks in enemies, objects, rings, and Sonic will grow bigger with each enemy that he sucks in. This Wisp is amazing. I loved using it. It's the epitome of destruction. But unfortunately, number 2 and number 1 causes even more destruction than this Wisp, so let's go on to number 2. Now, number 2 is a classic Wisp from Sonic Colors. This Wisp is the Purple Wisp, or Purple Frenzy. Now, purple is my favorite color, so this Wisp catches my eye right away. This Wisp turns you into a monster that eats everything in its path, and the more that it eats, the bigger it gets, and the more out of control it gets. The fact that you can't control which way it's going, and the fact that it's just jerking around the screen like a rabid dog, really makes me love this Wisp. It just causes mayhem everywhere it goes. But, unfortunately, there's one more Wisp that's more destructive than this one, and Wisp that I like more. Let's see what number 1 is. Number 1 is Indigo, or the Indigo Asteroid. Now, this Wisp turns Sonic into a blue planet-like object with a ring around it. Some could say it's a Saturn, and funny that it's a blue Saturn, just like Sega Saturn's logo. Now, this causes anything Sonic touches to disintegrate and surrounding into his orbit. The bigger his orbit gets, the more range he'll have to destroy stuff. This is the best Wisp when it comes to destruction, because the destruction just spreads. He just keeps getting a wider range and a wider range, and you can just see everything slowly disintegrating, turning into cubes around him. This is the best when it comes to destruction. The Cube Wisp can't compete, the Purple Wisp can't compete. Like, this is the pinnacle of destruction when it comes to Wisp. So yeah, this is definitely my number 1 favorite Wisp when it comes to Sonic thus far. So yeah, that was my top 10 favorite Wisp in Sonic the Hedgehog. Sorry if the Wisp that you liked didn't get on here. This is just my personal list for my play style, and as you can tell, I need some help because I love destroying stuff. If you guys like this video, then hit the like button. If you really like this video, then hit the share button. And if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and bye.